When you're alone and wish that you could just bone, you know that you can go to Pound Town. If your head is reeling, just ignore all your feelings. You can always go to Pound Town. Romancing the podcast shows you rom-coms aren't so pretty, like a bunch of cheating assholes who all live in New York City. Rich people suck. You know Mikey's a ghosting king, and Todd's into Ryan Reynolds. Paige wants Kurt every week to go to Pound Town, even with a fiancé. Pound Town, what would your best friend say? Pound Town, this podcast is waiting for you. Pound Town, Pound Town.
Thank you for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wesley.
I'm Mikey Randolph.
And I'm Todd Schlosser. And this week, Paige, of course, made us watch 365 days.
I like how everyone's pinning this on me as if in our group chat and in the Facebook group and on other episodes, we haven't all been like, this movie is fucking nuts. We have to do it. Fuck y'all.
Okay, Paige, that would be one thing, except also in the group chat, you're like, Massimo can get it, right, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, but he's a good-looking dude, right?
I mean, if he didn't have some of the worst tattoos I've ever seen in my life, yeah, maybe.
Okay, I fell down a rabbit hole looking for those tattoos because the one on his chest just says Cloud in Buffy the Vampire Slayer font.
Yeah.
What? What even is it?
Paige, I did the same thing, and I found a article that says Michel Monroe, or whatever, however you say his name.
I think it's Marone.
Okay,
Marone.
Michel Moron's 19 tattoos and their meanings.
Oh,
my
fuck.
God.
Thank God, because I could not find it, and I went down a rabbit
Paige.
hole on
Yeah.
interviews he has given, and he is a hefty bag of weird, and
Yeah.
so is the screenwriter of this movie. There's so many crazy interviews. Fun Facts is going to be wild.
Good, but I can tell you right now, Cloud, that tattoo, Cloud,
Yeah, okay, what is it?
is named after his pet dog.
Paige, you're supposed to start off.
I am, but I am so curious about the rest of the tattoos.
Let me just tell you what I think is the dumbest tattoo.
Yeah.
Maybe not dumbest. I think it is like indicative of this person just being an unsufferable douche. And that is the tattoo on his hand. That is words.
Okay, yes.
Not the phoenix with the skull in it, but the one that is words says, "Everyone will come to my funeral to make sure that I'm dead." He tattooed that on his hand, Paige.
Oh my goodness. See, here's the thing. I don't know if it's like after reading way too many interviews with him, because I was up till like 3:30 in the morning last night. I fell down rabbit holes because as I was going through the movie, I kept having because now the first time I watched it, I was like, this is just madness. And I was like live tweeting it in the group and everything. This time I'm watching it for notes, and I just kept having weird questions of why is this? Is this something they did for the character? Is this him? What's happening?
No, it's him.
And then when I went to go do fun facts, literally all of the available fun facts in the normal 2 or 3 places that I go for fun facts were about him. It was almost like they weren't movie fun facts as much as just him fun facts, and then a handful of real crazy ones about the screenwriter. And I was just like, what?
I can't wait.
Oh, you mean the screenwriter is an algorithm that they took 50 Shades into and vaguely American songs and then built a movie around it?
The screenwriter who also wrote the books. There's also 2 other
These
story
are
by
based
credits.
on books?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Do you know who buys and reads these kind of books, Todd?
People at the Busted Bodice?
Paige does. Because
Rick Bodice doesn't carry these. You have to special order them. But
And they come in a brown paper bag.
I think they're we're ashamed.
I mean, this movie is so pornographic. I felt weird watching it. Okay, so Natalie had a girls' night last night. So I she leaves, and then I settle in and turn on this movie, and I'm like, am I watching porn while my girlfriend's not at
Yes.
home. Like that is,
Yes.
I felt
Yes, you
guilty
are.
about that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's wild. The sex in it is simulated. I do want to confirm because that's one of the things that, like, if you go online, you will find a bunch of people being like, no, they had sex for real in this movie. They did not. You can actually see the privacy patches in some parts in the movie.
Yeah.
But, okay, so Stephanie Meyer writes Twilight, right? Stealing many things from Charlaine Harris. Then 50 Shades comes around.
Right.
Or E.L. James.
Stole a bunch of stuff from.
Well, she writes fan fiction, and I believe it was originally called Master of the Universe. It was.
I'm sorry, she wrote He-Man
a
fan
He-Man-
fiction.
a He-Man porn.
I mean, honestly, shot for shot this movie, but it's He-Man. I'm here for it.
Come on, baby, get on my Man of War.
Skeletor's the other mob boss. Then Blanca Lipinska
Okay.
writes her version, which it all builds like, and you realize that they get crazier. Like, you know, Twilight is Mormon levels of crazy.
Yes.
50 Shades is
Seventh-day Adventist levels of crazy.
50 Shades is misunderstanding BDSM relationships level of crazy.
That's my biggest complaint. Yes.
And then this movie is like, what if you misunderstood the BDSM of 50 Shades, but then we're like, let's take it further. And another one.
What are you, DJ Khaled, but for porn? Like, this is a terrible movie. But Paige,
This is terrible.
you picked it. You've got to start off with how you felt about it.
I feel like we should get this out of the way early. Kidnapping is bad.
Okay, you just want to do a little asterisk about that for
I'm
this
kidding.
whole series?
No. Kidnapping is terrible. We have to get it out of the way because we have to be able to talk about the plot, air quotes, plot of this movie just to get through it. But if we stopped every time we're like, remember that she's kidnapped, it'll take us a million days to get through this movie.
I feel like I will probably say it a couple of more times.
Sure, of
just
course.
I have seen how much you've gushed on Massimo's character the
No,
last.
Massimo's a monster, but he is very attractive looking. Anyway, so like,
So what she's saying is that she, before Jake, would have been okay with being kidnapped by a monster as long as that monster was rich and hot.
Jake doesn't matter. He could just Photoshop Jake fucking somebody and still kidnap Paige, and she'd be like, "Thank you for rescuing me."
Honestly, if Jake was head of the, I don't know, Southern Texas Mafia or whatever, and he kidnapped me, I'd be sort of okay with it. So I get it.
hold that thought, Mikey, about the photoshopped photos, because I do want to talk about that, because I didn't think about that the first time I watched it. And it is something I thought about this time. There are multiple points where he's like, I'll never touch you without your consent, and then proceeds to grope her. And I'm like, what? Bro,
Yeah.
like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and this is, I think, the first time a man has ever lied about that. So it's shocking.
Right?
Yeah.
This movie is toxic. It is not relationship goals.
No.
No one should look at this as romantic. I just want to get all of that out of the way immediately. Like,
Because she's about to say, it's sexy as fuck.
no, because much like 50 Shades, I want to quantify it. This is not like, you should not be looking at this and being like, yeah. I feel like the only place most of this movie is appropriate is within the confines of a sexual fantasy
Yes.
in which you and a partner would role play things like this with consent and safe
Yes.
words.
You guys are gonna be so pissed, but my couch will be delivered in 10 minutes.
No, that's fine.
Well, I mean, it's fine. We'll figure it out.
10-1. They are coming at 10.
It's because you were their first delivery and they're still a little bit late. I guarantee it.
I do think it's really funny that I made fun of you for like, they're not going to come on time. And they're literally like immediately.
Paige cursed them.
Oh, that's so funny.
She's
I'm
like,
sorry.
they'll never come. You'll never be the first one. 10-1. See him at 3.
You'll never get your couch.
That's been my experience is they're like, we'll be there 10 to 1 on Tuesday. And it's like Thursday at 8 p.m. And you're just like, oh, great. Thanks
Okay.
for showing up. Leave all this in. This is actually kind of funny.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see you in 15 minutes. The first call was a robot voice saying, your delivery will be there in approximately 10 minutes. That was the actual guy saying, we'll be there in 15 minutes.
So all that to say, this is not a aspirational scenario.
But I do understand what you're saying about if you look at this whole movie like it is not
Right.
reality, like it's a sexual fantasy, then
Correct.
I'm more okay with what's happening because
Right.
I assume that if it is a sexual fantasy, even though it doesn't appear that way, everyone is consenting. But that is like some huge mental gymnastics I am having to do to make me okay with it.
What you should have done is break this film up into 15-minute segments and then just uploaded the internet.
To Pornhub.
It's just porn. Like, there's no film.
Hey, to address Todd's point first. Yeah, I don't think this movie is depicting that. I think if you're going to watch this movie, that's how you should approach it.
If you don't, it is terrible. Like,
If you don't, it is terrifying.
yeah.
For a split second, her best friend was like, this is all terrible. But then she's like, nah, let's go.
Now let's go. It's fine. Don't worry
Let's
about
get
it.
a spa day.
I'm sure it'll all work out with our fourth makeover montage of the film.
There's conservatively 1.5 million montages in this goddamn movie.
I noted everyone. So like,
hell yeah. Do you have a montage count? I gotta have a montage
I do have
count.
a
Paige.
montage count.
Hell
I do have
yeah.
a montage count.
I love it.
I mean, there's no dialogue. We literally could get done talking about this movie in 30 minutes.
Yes,
And we might have to because your sofa's on the way.
that's true.
I'm so excited about it
It's because he split his last one in half, Paige.
Yeah, I remember.
with the women.
No, I wasn't there. I've heard about it.
I kidnapped Paige for 365
Oh, God,
days,
no.
and she had to watch.
That's
my
why
living
I've
room.
done that many episodes of this podcast. No. So again, to bring this point in for a landing, because I can't seem to get it finished.
Just to close the loop.
Yeah, close
close the loop.
Tie it up with a bow.
It's terrible. Think of it as a fantasy, but also B, this movie is not just terrible on a, hey, this is a real toxic, abusive relationship. It's also just kind of badly made in a hilarious way.
Oh, yeah.
Like the pacing is all over the place,
Yeah.
where in some cases it's paced way too slow because we're literally just like watching them have sex over and over again for some of the longest sex scenes on film.
I'm going to be honest with you, and I got bored through a lot of them. I'm like, I get it. I've seen both of them naked a lot at this point, and I'm bored with it.
They're as long as The Room, and previously The Room had some of the longest sex scenes ever. But then when you get to the plot, they're skipping and going so fast that you don't fully know what's going on.
To me, this film has all of those weird issues where it kind of feels surreal, and it has like a weird visual effects. I think, like
Yes.
the way it's filmed, the whole thing feels like a pornographic video game cutscene.
Yes, Mikey.
Mikey, you're not entirely wrong. It's all shot in like there's a lot of like side frame close-ups,
Yeah.
like a video game cutscene would do. There's a lot of drone shots of establishing where they are
Yeah.
in buildings, and I think a lot of that is it was not filmed in the US, and I think they're trying to make it look cool, where it's like, look at this exotic movie, because it is filmed like in Sicily and
Yeah.
in Poland and a bunch of other places.
And honestly, Paige, it's beautiful. Like a lot of those establishing shots are like fucking
Kind of
stunning.
pretty.
I love it. Yeah. Anyway, so like Mikey, do you want to do your first thoughts?
No, it's just this long ass fever pornographic video game cutscene that's toxic about you kidnap someone and then force them to have. I mean, like technically rape. I mean,
yeah,
I mean,
she's kidnapped.
No, it is.
She's
It is.
kidnapped. Call it what it is.
It is, yes, 100%. But if you had said that this was Leisure Suit Larry presents 365 days, I'd be like, okay, now I sort of understand because it's like a video game sort of thing, right?
It's
Right.
so terrible. Like so much going down on people. Like just so many times.
It's a lot. There's a lot of going down on
Yeah,
people.
it's a great movie.
But going down on people in a way that I'm like, who did you think your target audience was for this? I feel like a lot of the blowjob scenes are done in a very male gaze way.
Do you mean like the whole movie? I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of the movie is very male gazy.
Not all of it. There are sections that are definitely more female gaze, but they don't seem to marry together. And I don't think a lot of straight dudes are going to be watching this movie until they find out what's in it, I guess.
To wrap my first impressions up.
Yeah. Put a bow on it, baby.
This is a extremely toxic,
Yeah.
terrible, you can watch better porn.
Yes. And I have, Mikey.
You can do better, baby girl.
I will say there's different porn, and I'll talk about that a little bit of like why this probably did as well as it did, based on the porn landscape that is out there for the audience of this movie.
Well, this movie opens with a scene about sex trafficking underage adults.
Well, that's because they have to establish our mobsters that we will be following as quote unquote good mobsters, because they will sell drugs and they'll run protection rackets and all that shit, but they won't traffic minors.
Except he does that. That's exactly what he does for the year, is he sex traffics her.
Well,
and he crosses international lines with a kidnapping video.
That is true.
Yes,
he
Mikey.
does, but she's an adult. It's the movie trying to
adults
give
can be
us
sex trafficked.
Well, and they often are.
And they often are. The movie trying to make that the reason that air quotes Massimo is good is hilarious to me.
I
because
literally
it's
wrote
so
that down.
So misguided.
When I was watching it, I was like, is this movie fucking gaslighting me into thinking that this person is a good person?
Well, he does have tattoos of arrows across his shoulders to highlight his shoulders, so maybe.
And Massimo is like Todd levels of hairy, so it's not working for that.
I am not that hairy.
Massimo's not that hairy. He's got chest hair, but that's not weird.
Well, that's because the camera didn't pace down, but when he's in the shower and he's like, you're just going to look at it? If you fan down, it's just like a huge bush area.
No, that's one of multiple scenes where you can see his like privacy pouch thing.
Yeah.
Well, he's a never nude. That's a subplot they cut.
Yeah, if it was me in this, it would just be me in like small cut off jean shorts.
Are you just going to look at them or are you going to do something about it?
I am furious that this movie is called 365 Days when they establish at the end of it that it takes place over 60. Like, you can't have him kidnap her on her fucking birthday and then not end with her birthday. Like, I couldn't believe that it ends 60 days after she's kidnapped.
Well, it's a little more than 60.
Well,
but
but they establish at the end of this movie, like right before she goes to try on fucking wedding dresses, that it's been 60 days. It's been 2 months. And then it ends with her driving back from getting her wedding dress. Like, what? What?
I wish there were no sequels. Because her dying at the end is pretty much what happens if you're kidnapped and sex trafficked with a mafia.
But Mikey, she doesn't die at the end. Their car ran out of gas in that tunnel, and the cops stopped to help them.
Okay, so that's not what happened.
Well, I mean, but we don't know. That's my point.
Well, here's what's crazier, because I know we're eventually going to do the sequel, but I have to talk about this, and I had forgotten that this is how the movie ended because I watched them back to back.
Oh, yeah.
I would assume they murder her friend because her friend's got dark hair and she changed.
No, her friend is going to end up with the other guy.
Domenico.
Yeah, I knew it. I fucking knew it. I'm so happy.
And honestly, you spend a lot of the second movie rooting for her and Domenico, and they have a lot of sex scenes in the second movie. No, the second movie starts months after.
What?
And doesn't explain anything. And they're like, remember how you lost that baby in the attack? No other explanation. We don't know who attacked. We don't know what attacked.
Like, they never show the attack?
No. We don't know if they end up in the hospital. We don't know any of it.
Okay, let me go make sure my stuff's unlocked and stuff.
All right.
That was pretty quick for a furniture delivery.
It was pretty quick, yeah. But do you guys want to get into the movie so we can talk about it scene by scene?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sure. I had time to calculate the installation cost of that bathroom. Thank you.
You talk about the bathroom that's more square footage than my whole entire home?
Yes.
I budgeted that bathroom is probably approximately 100 square feet.
That seems small. I think that bathroom may be 200 square feet.
I debated between 100 and 200, so I have the pricing for 100.
That shower seemed 100 square feet.
Yeah, it did.
That's what I mean. The shower, I think, is 100 square feet.
You're talking about just the shower, then.
You're talking about just the shower. I'm talking about the
whole
the toilet,
apartment-style bathroom.
Yeah.
I do think the bathroom as a whole, probably 200 square feet, but I think that shower on its own is 100 square feet.
Oh, God.
Anyway, let's get into this movie. So we open in Lampedusa on the Mediterranean Sea, and there's like a weird fort thing with a satellite dish, and essentially it's two mob families meeting. One mob family is like, we want to traffic children because it's good money, and then the other mob family is like, you dishonor the family. We're only gonna murder and do drugs.
Right. Yeah, you're the bad kind of mobsters.
You're the bad mobsters.
And that's when I was like, oh shit, this movie is gaslighting me into thinking Massimo is not a terrible, terrible person.
All right.
Or his whole family. Like
his whole
he's
family.
Heir apparent to a mafia empire. So yeah.
Right.
And I do love that in this scene, his dad like walks over to him while he's like looking through the binoculars at Laura, and his dad is like more or less giving the Mufasa, everything the light touches is going to be yours one day speech.
Right.
And I was like, holy shit, is this going to be like sexy Lion King? It wasn't, but I wanted that movie.
Everything where the sun don't shine will be yours one day.
Okay, controversial statement. The woman on the beach is not Laura. I don't think it's Laura.
Okay.
I think he's a delusional person and is mentally ill and has kidnapped a woman that just vaguely looks like a woman he saw. And that's what we're seeing. And part of the reason I think this, because I kind of suspected it last time I watched it, and then I believe it even more now watching this a second time. We don't get a close enough view of the woman on the beach. But even when we kind of do see her, she looks like Laura, but I couldn't 100% confirm for you that it is Laura. Then later when he's telling her the story, we kind of get glimpses and it is her. But then at the end of the movie where he thinks Laura may have died, there's a flash of a different woman in that cut, in that montage.
No, I thought that was her because they show that cut montage thing a few times.
Everyone looks the same.
I know.
There's definitively two different women, and the reason I know is they're wearing two different lip colors. Specifically, they have different shaped lips and are wearing different makeup.
So it's not even the same actress?
I'm not prepared to argue this because I did not pay attention that closely.
It's not the same actress. Here's where I think it is. I think the movie is telling you that it's the same person, but the scene on the beach, I can't verify that it's the same person, but I also can't find another actress for that. So maybe it is, and they just shot it at different times and didn't continuity edit, and didn't notice that she looked different different enough to look like a different person. I don't know.
I'm not sure it really matters because the whole movie is so low rent bonkers that it's just something you would overlook naturally because everything's crazy.
You overlooked the plot, so
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a weird headcanon that it's not her and he is mentally ill.
I mean, he's mentally ill either way.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah.
So the mob meeting is going down. Massimo is bored, and so he gets binoculars. He looks at a woman on the beach.
Right. May or may not be Laura.
May or may not be Laura. So his dad comes over. Laura. His dad comes over and is just like, what do you think about that deal? And he's like, no, because we don't traffic children. And then as they're talking about it,
he was like, but son, it took those men a lot of hard work to steal that middle school class.
The whole class?
Jesus, yeah.
Because it was like 20 kids.
Yeah, it was a lot of children, unfortunately. As they're talking about it, his dad gets shot through the back and the bullet goes through his heart and into Massimo. So Massimo and his dad are both gravely injured.
Oh, and they shared blood. That's so disgusting.
I have so much to say about this because when they're establishing this first scene, they show you that they are in the only building for miles on a cliff over the ocean or whatever.
Correct.
That bullet comes in from a upward angle where it would have had to have been shot from a fucking helicopter you would have heard or a skyscraper that's non-existent.
Bro, it's a hot air balloon sniper.
Yes. King Louis the Sixth shot
with a
him
parachute
from the past.
If you can add peripheral random video game levels around the scenes, the movie makes a lot more sense.
Mikey, my thought was that it was a meteorite.
I will do you both one better.
Okay.
Because they're shot. Massimo's dad dies.
They were hit by a meteorite, Paige, please.
Hit by a meteorite. Massimo's about to be rushed to a hospital. But the shot of the film pulls back like a full drone shot. And something I did not notice the first time, but definitely noticed this time, is that the portion of the roof where they get shot is covered with a tarp that's supposed to match the roof.
Yeah.
Which means that clearly whatever building they were shooting on was like, don't get blood on our fucking building.
Yep.
And so there's like a tarp there for them to shoot on and then clean up. And I laughed hysterically at that.
Yeah.
This movie makes a lot more sense if you picture Max Payne coming to kill them the whole time.
Honestly, if you had added any action scenes but in bullet time, I'd have been like, I'm on board for this.
I mean, that's who shot his dad was Max Payne.
No, I thought it was James McAvoy from Wanted because he had to spin that bullet.
He had to curve the bullet.
Yeah, he had to curve
I
that
can't
bullet.
talk about the curved bullets. I can't do that now.
I fucking love Wanted so much. I wanted that to be a whole series of movies. Come on, man.
No, the cloth? Come on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the last 20 minutes of Wanted are terrible.
Make no sense. I literally played through a huge section of Horizon Forbidden West yesterday before watching this, then went to dinner with friends, then came back and jumped right into this. And this building on this beach looks like Horizon Forbidden West.
It does.
That's the kind of shit that she would infiltrate and be like, the machines can see me.
Every scene looks like a video game. I am kidding. I'm not kidding you. I was like, this is a video game.
Every location is like a level from Hitman.
Did you watch it dubbed? There was English words a lot?
Part of it is in English.
I mean, they're talking English for about 45% of the movie.
I mean, they're talking English, but it doesn't quite match with what's going on.
You have to have subtitles on. You have to.
More also made it a video game for me, which I was like, I'm watching a video game.
Yeah.
I mean, what I think is very, very funny, and we'll get to it later in the movie, it's established that both Massimo and Laura speak very good English in a handful of scenes. But then when they're not concentrating on it, there are wild lines that you're like, who translated this?
Yes, there are.
Because it was not a native English speaker. And it's mildly hilarious to me because it's one of those things where it's it's not a character not being good at speaking English. It's clearly someone who was trying to translate for the movie, translating badly.
Yeah.
And it's very funny to me.
Paige, it's like a Yakuza game.
It is like a Yakuza game. This is not like a dragon, but like Yakuza O or Zero. Yeah.
I'm playing Judgment right now. Similar vibes.
Interesting. So we get the main title card as they rush Massimo off for healthcare. And then we have a 5-year time jump that no one says anything about until 20 minutes later.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
You're just like, oh, I guess he recovered.
Yeah, I guess he recovered. Huh?
I mean, meteorite strikes are very uncommon, so there's not much hospitals can do for you, I guess.
Yep. What I really did want, though, was a scar from that shot.
Oh, yeah, but we never see that. We see him butt-ass naked for 60% of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
He recovered so well from that bullet, there's not even a scar there.
I could probably draw his body blindfolded. There's no scar.
Paint me like Massimo.
We cut to San Francisco.
Of course.
And we're cutting between...
we're cutting between two boardroom meetings that establish our two main characters, Laura and Massimo.
Laura and Massimo. Massimo is in San Francisco. Laura is in Warsaw, Poland.
Yeah.
And essentially back and forth, he is in a meeting with his accountants who have bungled one of his investments, and he basically blackmails them to get his money back. She, it turns out, works in the hospitality industry and has this very I checked this band into the hotel for the, press, and now we've got a bunch of reservations. It's really unclear what she does, what she did. Are they happy? Are they unhappy? We don't know. The conversation around her job is baffling.
Yeah.
One would also assume that Massimo was also not able to get all of his money back because, as we will see in the following scenes, they are struggling to recover some of their shipments of cocaine.
Yes.
For money, and they need money,
sad.
but then it's never addressed again.
Yeah, I hate when my cocaine shipments get lost.
Did you call Amazon support?
Alexa, order more cocaine.
Okay. We cut to Laura is on her way home in a cab, and she is with her phone trying to undo her shirt and shoot a sexy video to send to somebody.
Yeah, she's taking a sexy little thing to send. I'm imagining to her boyfriend, who's terrible.
He's the worst.
Yeah.
We'll get to him in a second. We need to talk about him when we get there.
Okay.
Conversely, Massimo is getting text messages and similar videos from a woman named Anna.
Yeah.
And he doesn't reply to it. He's not into it already. Anna is a huge character in the second movie.
Oh, is she?
Oh,
Which one's Anna, the blonde one?
the blonde one that interrupts them at the ball.
And he's like, I should murder your girlfriend.
Yeah,
I was like, sure.
And you know what? In the second movie, she fucking tries. So
Of
I
course she
thought
does.
that's who tried to kill her at the end.
Me too. Is it not?
yes and no. It's more complicated than that. The second movie has a lot more story and a lot less sex. But it's not better.
Oh, that's terrifying.
In fact, it's crazier.
Yeah, they decide to have a child, so they kidnap a child for 365 days until that child decides to adopt them as parents.
I don't want to ruin.
Holy shit, I love everything about that.
I don't want to ruin the plot of the second movie because we need to watch it, but we had to watch this one first. But the second one is so fucking crazy that like it puts this to shame. It's so bonkers.
Oh, man.
I mean, soap operas should be envious of the story gymnastics that happen in the second
Oh, God.
365 film.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so Laura gets home to her boyfriend, is basically just like, I'm kind of feeling it. Do you want a bone? And he's like, no, we should probably sleep before the plane and you haven't packed for us yet. And he's just watching TV. Like, he's not doing anything important.
No, he is a terrible person. And honestly, like, I've never seen a guy be like, when his girlfriend comes home,
Well, you've never seen a guy not get off his Xbox headphones when his girlfriend comes home? Now, we don't know their dynamic. She doesn't seem like that great of a person either.
also, fair, Mikey, fair.
I feel like Laura is not necessarily, she does not have many characteristics other than feisty. And I
Right.
do kind of think it's hilarious, but we also know almost nothing about her.
Right. Like, what if she was like verbally abusing this dude? So he's like, I'm just going to play Xbox tonight. I'm so sick of your shit. You texted me a bunch of mean stuff today. I wish we had separate places for the night, but I'm just going to like play Call of Duty. I just want to like relax.
I think you're projecting a lot onto this.
Yeah, Mikey, maybe we should talk just you and I offline to whatever, just
Yeah.
work through whatever you're going through right now,
I don't
man.
play Call of Duty, but he seems like a big Call of Duty guy.
He does have like quick scoping vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be like Crusader Kings. I'd be like, my kingdom will expand this evening.
Yeah.
You will see the tax levies go up. And she'd be like, I hate you.
Well, I think what it is that like she's trying to initiate and
Yeah, she's clearly trying to initiate.
clearly he doesn't have a reason for not participating other than that they have a flight the next morning, which means that it's basically just, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
The movie sets it up like he's cheating and stuff, but really we have no idea about their
We have
relationship.
no
context.
idea. I do.
Because
well,
it is also okay not to want to have sex. Like,
yeah,
what?
of course. Of course.
He could have shit his pants earlier that day and feels
could've.
really self-conscious and not
could've.
sexy.
Mikey, what has happened in your life to have informed what you just said?
How I train people on de-escalation is you put behavior in context and you never know what led to someone acting like
That's true.
this.
That's true.
That's true, but I will say, based on what we see in future scenes of them on vacation, not the cheating part, it seems like he does not put very much weight on her wants and needs.
No.
At all.
Not at all.
Well, the only want she has is to be feisty, and the only need she has is penis. There are no personality characteristics of this woman.
But what we know about the trip that they take is it's her birthday. There was one specific thing she wanted to do, and he just went and did it without her, and then came back and was like, why are you mad? So, like, he's a terrible boyfriend. Like, he does not care about her or take her into consideration at all. So, like, he's not great. But also the movie, like, you know how movies that have, like, an air quotes love triangle have to balance between, like, who do you like better? This movie didn't even try. This movie is like, we're going to make this boyfriend such a non-entity that you will not even care that he is gone.
Yeah, I don't get the vibe that they wanted us to think there was a love triangle at all.
Yeah, I think they were like, actively, he sucks, so you'll feel better about the kidnapping
Yeah,
that
exactly.
happens later.
Yeah. I mean, he's neglecting her. Let's have another guy kidnap her against her
Kidnap
will
her.
and drug her.
He's so concerned with her that he kidnapped her. Anyway, we cut to the flights the next day. And Massimo's on a private jet. And this is where they find out that the container of cocaine that they had is missing. And he gets up, like, angrily closes the basically shower curtain between him and the other passengers on the plane.
Yeah, I mean, like, it is a door, but it's so thin, like, it would not matter.
It's like trying to hang up your smartphone angrily. Like, it's impossible. We lost that technology with flip phones.
But also, he then proceeds to, I guess have the flight attendant suck his dick. And at first, it is unclear if she was on board for it. The only thing that makes me feel better about it is that she's in the compound later. She's the girl with the ponytail in the later scene. So I think maybe she has dual job responsibilities.
I think if you drop the word flight and she just becomes attendant, that is probably more appropriate for her job.
That's probably accurate.
She's the oral attendant?
Yeah. I think she's just there to make sure
She's
Massimo
a dental hygienist.
Yeah, we will talk about this scene in fun facts because weird shit almost happened with this scene.
I pictured this whole movie as me as one of his employees in the background the whole time and how hilarious.
Thank you. That's something I kept thinking about, and it was more something that I thought about with the boat scenes later.
Yeah. Well, in the plane too, because like that's like a pretty thin curtain. You're just sitting back there. And you're like, I hear gagging noises and spinning, and like I know what's happening there, and like I am more concerned because I'm the cocaine manager. I'm more concerned with my problem.
You're director of cocaine supply and shipment.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I've read your business card.
And you're cocaine logistics.
Yeah.
So
I need him to sign the
requisition forms.
Yeah, the authorization forms. So I can go hunt down the cocaine. And wait, we're gonna pause for 3 minutes so he can like get his rocks off up there. What is he, Elon Musk?
Well, so I kept thinking about that with this scene. And then with the boat, where we establish, once we get to the boat, we'll talk about it more. But there are multiple other people on that boat.
Yeah, and they're fucking all over that boat.
And they're
Paige.
fucking all over that boat.
Yeah.
And I just have in my notes, I'm like, do super rich people just get used to fucking in front of people?
It's like the TV series Rome. You get to a
Yes,
level of
that's what
rich,
it was
and then you're
making
just
me
fucking
think.
in front of the staff. Yeah.
They're just like, more water. Like,
Yeah. I want to get like fucking in front of the staff level of money. I wouldn't do it, but I want that level of money.
I wish at the boat scene, it like zooms out. They're fucking on the bow, and there's just me in an inner tube next to the boat. I'm on break.
Just like, I'm going to have to clean that up.
well, so when they shot the boat ones, there's like, they clearly make it look like there's no one on the boat, but we know there's people on the boat.
The movie establishes that.
But what I wanted was somebody standing off to the side with champagne on a tray. Like, just waiting for them to be done
And
or
if
whatever.
you zoom out further, there's Max Payne coming in a little dinghy to kill everyone on the boat, which would be a good level.
Do you think, because I was like, is this just a weird thing of this movie and the series Rome? Or do you think rich people fuck in front of other people all the time? Like, is Beyonce constantly fucking in front of the staff?
I don't think Beyonce does.
Yeah, I know, you're right. Beyonce classy.
I can't picture Beyonce, but I do picture rich men and women power playing it up like that. Leave the dominoes at the floor.
Dominoes.
Oh, the Domino's pizza. I was picturing like servants like setting up like a domino, like knock it down around the bed.
I have a hard time picturing what my life would be like at that level of rich.
Oh, really?
You just suggested dominoes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mikey, I find that very easy to believe because your insanely rich thing was eating Dominoes. I'm assuming you're still on the private plane.
No, I was picturing a penthouse apartment.
But just with Dominoes on the floor while you're banging someone and the help is there?
Just a guy with a red cap, and he's like, I've got your breadsticks and your thin crust pizza. And I was like, leave it on the floor while I have the sex.
I do want to say that if you heard some rustling while Mikey was saying that, it's because he hit the mic with his arm for some reason.
I'm clumsy.
I don't know that I could ever get comfortable having sex in front of staff like that.
Practice makes perfect, Paige.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
It's just like public speaking.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. Except when you're doing that, you just picture everyone with their clothes on.
Now I'm just picturing mid-sex being like, thank you for having me today. My first point, and then like setting up slides like it's public speaking. Anyway, so boyfriend's not into it. Laura vibes herself into a crazy orgasm. She's like having an exorcism level orgasm. It's very overplayed in this scene.
That's why that guy has to wear headphones.
Yeah. And it's intercut between her and Massimo having this like blowjob. But here's the thing about Massimo's blowjob. It's equal parts shot from male and female gaze in the worst way. Like, it's done really badly, where the action that's going on is very much male gaze. It's very male porn.
Yeah.
It's very, this is what we see in your standard run-of-the-mill straight, but pornography made for straight men. But then it's also shot, there are shots from what would be her point of view looking up at him, which I think is their attempt at female gaze, and they're completely missing the point. And you're like, what? Like, maybe this is working for somebody, but like, this is such a bizarre way to shoot this.
I mean, there are people who are super into giving those kinds of things,
Sure.
but it does not seem to be a large section of the population.
I mean, I think they're almost right, where like shot from her point of view, there is a way you could have done that would have been very interesting from a female gaze perspective. To contrast this, there is a scene where something similar is happening in Outlander. However, it's shot almost entirely from female gaze, and it's a much more effective scene.
Sure.
This, you're just mostly looking up his nostrils the whole time.
Right.
And then it'll cut to him like shoving her head down. And you're just like, this is not, no one wanted this. No one ordered this.
That's exactly what I ordered from Domino's.
I'd like a large pepperoni and a blowjob wench, please.
Crazy blowjob.
The thing that I don't understand, I don't know. I just feel bad for that lady this whole movie because she only exists to suck this man's dick and she never gets anything else for her.
And pass out Diet Cokes in very small plastic cups during the flight. And to show them how the life vests work.
Yeah. She has a very weird job.
There are exits at the rear, wing, and front of the plane, and an entrance above my neck and into my mouth.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that absolutely is right. Yeah.
It's a lot. So everyone gets their respective orgasms. We cut to the next day. They are in Sicily. So she and her boyfriend have arrived. His plane lands. He has arrived. And her boyfriend is giving a birthday toast to her.
Or his mom.
He's
such a douche. Like, 'cause he's like, I want to raise my glass to the prettiest, smartest lady ever. My mom. And you're like, oh, this guy's the fucking worst.
And then this is like, first of all, she has a friend in this scene.
Yes.
I don't think it's the friend from the rest of the movie.
It may be a different actress, but
yes,
it is played like it's Olga when she goes back to Warsaw after she falls in love with him. Yeah. But I don't know that it's her, but it is played like it is her.
But also, the person on the trip with them has a significant other that's with them. When we meet back up with Olga later, she does not. So either she has broken up with that guy.
Yeah.
We don't need to know. It's never explained. We don't have to talk about it.
It's never explained. We don't know if this is Olga or not, but she has a friend with her. And the thing that made me laugh really hard in this scene that I did not notice the first time, that I did notice this time, is that he sings happy birthday to her.
Yes.
But he's reading it off the paper. And so he sings happy birthday. And then on the last refrain of happy birthday to you, he checks the paper. And I'm like,
for her name?
No. For how to say happy birthday, even though he's just said it 3 times.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, it's the same 3 words for the entire damn song. Like, what are we talking about here? So somebody sends him a bottle of champagne.
Yes.
They don't know who it comes from.
No, but it does knock her out. So I think we do know who sent it.
Yeah. Well, no, because she doesn't get knocked out till the next day.
Oh, I mean, you've seen it twice.
It is the next day, or at least later in this day. Because what happens is, so they get the bottle of champagne, everyone drinks it. So it's possible it knocked everyone out, but that scene is missing from film. But anyway, somebody sends him a bottle of champagne. She gets up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And this is the first time she runs into Massimo, who is basically a ghost because he just like orbs up behind her.
Yeah, he's a ghost this entire movie. I honestly, like, you could have said that at the end of this movie, she was in an insane asylum and she was like just living out this fantasy in her head. And I'd be like, that makes so much sense.
I'd be like, sign me up. No, but he says he has like a catchphrase, and it's supposed to be like the Later's baby in 50 Shades.
Is it? But it is just him. Are you lost, baby girl?
Yeah. Are you lost, baby girl?
It's so creepy and bad.
I'm going to start calling everyone baby girl.
Baby girl.
Baby girl.
Somebody, when I did the live tweet in the Facebook group was like, you have to have Jake call you baby girl. And I was like, he's never going to do that. And I was like, hey, Jake, would you ever? And he's like, no, I refuse. So she goes to the bathroom. She comes back. We cut to the next morning where she and her friend are by the pool drinking wine. And this is where we find out that she woke up that morning and her boyfriend was gone because he went on the hike without her, even though it is her birthday. So he basically left her alone on her birthday to go on a hike without her.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I don't know why the fuck you're mad. You weren't up. And she's like,
you weren't awake when I was ready to go, so I just left.
yeah, so wake me up. It's my birthday. Like, what the fuck?
Well, wake me up before you go hike. Yeah.
Wake me up. It's on my birthday. And that's the whole reason we came to Sicily, you asshole.
Unless her boyfriend paid Massimo to kidnap her.
As like a whole big role play scenario where he's like, I'm not meeting her needs sexually. I know what she needs.
It's the ultimate cuckolding, Paige.
Yeah, I know.
No. I think he pulled that middle school maneuver, that high school maneuver where he was like, I really don't want to be with her anymore, so I'm going to treat her bad until she breaks up with me because I don't like breaking up with people.
Oh, that's like making a Tinder profile for your current girlfriend so you can find her a replacement for you because you want out of the relationship. Yes, I understand
But
that.
she would never break up with him, and he was like, okay, I won't sing her happy birthday. I'll go on the birthday hike. And then none of that works. So he's like, I'm going to get the mafia. This guy only found 12% of his cocaine. I'm going to pay him a bunch of money to kidnap my girlfriend.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. I think that's an extra layer to an already crazy movie, but sure. So she's upset. She pushes him into the pool, and we immediately cut to later that night, outfit change into a very cool sequin caftan, where she is, for inexplicable reasons, running around the streets at night crying alone, just like looking out at the city and crying and then like running.
We all grieve in our own way, Paige.
Yeah. And she bumps into one of Massimo's like goons, essentially.
Yeah.
We cut to the next day. She wakes up in bed. Again, solid caftan game. Loving the caftan. But she is locked in a bedroom. And we get an establishing shot of what we will find out is basically Massimo's like compound, almost like a palace.
Yeah.
She looks out the window. She kind of can't figure out where she is. Someone unlocks the door, and so she comes out into basically the common room where she sees a giant painting of herself. And as she's like, what? Massimo orbs up behind her, and again is just like, are you lost, baby girl?
God. I honestly thought that was a photo of her.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on point. It's definitely top 10 things I think somebody would tell someone before they kidnap them.
Are you lost, baby girl? Or I have your portrait in my house?
Both. But are you lost, baby girl is definitely like a kidnapper's catchphrase.
I would be way more scared if someone came up to me and said that they had their portrait of me in their house.
Same. Is it reflecting all the bad things I do? Is that why I still look young?
Paige's real last name is Gray, if you don't get that joke.
Yeah. Does the portrait smell like cheese? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
So she passes out, and this is where we find out that she has a heart condition, which will literally never come back in the movie pretty much after this point. Like, he'll mention it once on the boat, and that's it. Like, her heart condition completely disappears, and it's completely absent in the second movie.
Yeah.
Completely.
Good.
It's a very funny feature that just goes away.
He cured her heart, Paige.
That's what it is.
Well, he is saying that she's having a bad reaction to the sedative because I didn't know that you had a heart condition, but also don't sedate people without their consent.
Right?
Like, easy way to fix this, Massimo. Like, but this is where he basically tells her, he's like, what I'm about to tell you is so incredible. I saw you at the airport.
And I knew I had to kidnap you.
I knew I had to kidnap you. He goes through where he's like, 5 years ago, my father was killed. And this is the first time we're being told that it's been a 5-year time jump.
Right?
But he basically is like, that day I saw a woman on the beach, and then I saw her basically in and out of consciousness as I was going to the hospital and whatever. And I lived, so I considered her my good luck charm. I've been looking for her everywhere, and it's you. He doesn't ask if she was in wherever on the beach at the time. He doesn't do any sort of like confirming that it's her.
And it is just like basic skinny brunette on a beach.
Brunette on a beach.
And he saw
Yeah.
her from pretty far away. Like,
Yes!
that could be conservatively 100 million people on Earth.
Yes. Yes.
Who do you guys think I should kidnap?
I don't know her name, but I know she has a tan, big-ass, like, fedora hat and Ugg boots.
Yeah.
The montage of us having sex around my 12-foot outdoor pool would be much shorter.
The montage would be shorter than the actual sex? All right, that's fair.
My favorite is what Laura says after she like comes to with the ice cubes and whatever. She just says, "Why am I here? Who the fuck you are? And why are you keeping me here?"
Yeah.
Which is just one of those parts where it's like, somebody didn't quite translate this right.
She learned to speak English on set of this movie.
Yeah, something. Anyway, she's like, nobody owns me. You can't just kidnap me and think
I'm not a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, I'm not a sack of potatoes that you can take where you wish.
Actual line in this movie.
And he hands her a giant black envelope, which is the second time in this movie that we've seen Massimo just hand out giant black envelopes. And I'm like, where is he getting these giant black envelopes?
He bought them in bulk. He has to use them.
Yeah, he has to. Some sort of like game show store? Like, what's happening?
No, Paige. What happened was the container full of cocaine was like high style switched out for a container of black envelopes. And he was like, well, I guess we should probably just use the envelopes.
Yeah, we don't want them to go to waste.
I know.
But yeah, Massimo's constantly handing people 8.5 by 11 fancy black envelopes.
Yeah.
And within the envelope are pictures of her boyfriend cheating on her.
Yeah.
Now, we will talk to the boyfriend about this later. Mikey, you think they're photoshopped?
Yes.
They're not. He owns up to it later on.
I have an alternate theory, though.
Oh, okay.
Because when we talk to the boyfriend about it later on, he says, I took one sip. I don't remember anything after that, which could be a lie. That could be a lie.
Sure.
He could have just cheated on her and is trying to, like, make it go away. Or we know they drugged Laura. Is it possible that they drugged him and staged the photos with somebody?
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Or did he do that on purpose so he doesn't implicate himself in her kidnapping plot?
You're really going hard with the whole,
Mikey.
her ex-boyfriend is the mastermind of the whole movie.
I'm here for it, though. I think you're hot on the case.
And I do think if he was wearing a chef's hat, he would look a lot like a certain Chef Boyardee.
Professor Boyardee, who do you think killed the father?
Honestly, space. I think it was a meteorite, Mikey. I think space killed the father.
Can I tell you something really, really dumb that I did yesterday?
Yes.
Paige, I demand it.
You can always tell us dumb stuff.
And Chef Boyardee made me think about it. So I'm on Instagram and I see an ad for this necklace that looks like a ravioli.
I was going to say, is it a ravioli necklace? I swear to God.
Well, and I have seen ravioli necklaces before, but this one is rather large and it's like paired with a handful of other items, like other kinds of like necklaces. And it was for like abortion access. It was like a fundraiser thing. And the other items were like a set of birth control pills and like an IUD and a handful of other things. And I was like, but why a ravioli though? And then I realized it was a condom in a wrapper, not a ravioli. My weird pasta ass was just like, a ravioli necklace, quirky.
And listen, I've read a lot of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and Chef and Professor Boyardee is very big on, having safe sex. So that actually checks out.
Well, and then I went to the comments. I was like, I can't be the only one. And there was just a bunch of people like, low-key, I thought this was a ravioli.
Why does the ravioli have a ring of cheese towards the outside of it?
And I was like, this is a very detailed ravioli necklace. Yeah, I was like, wow. I was like, they even got the indentations. Oh, no, it's a condom. Okay.
Mikey, you wouldn't recognize it because you've never seen a condom in your life.
I only raw dog ravioli.
Honestly, same. I would raw dog some ravioli all night.
Just into a can of Chef Boyardee. Just
I meant eating it. I don't actually want to fuck a can of ravioli. Hang on one second.
Oh, okay, fine. Too good for it.
Then you're not invited to my party, Paige.
Picture this. The year is 1999.
Okay.
You go see this great sex comedy, Ravioli, where a young man is told it feels just like warm can of ravioli. And his father walks in on him fucking a can of ravioli.
Mikey, please tell me the story is not autobiographical.
No.
I mean, at least a can of ravioli is portable. A pie is difficult.
We
It is.
redo American Pie with just ravioli cans.
I 100% want a shot-for-shot remake of American Pie with just ravioli, yes.
It's a fresh light.
Now Subway's slogan is weirding me out. We've got to move on.
Subway has some problematic advertising.
Oh, yeah. Especially in the 90s.
Yeah. My biggest problem with Subway's advertising is that they try to argue that they have sandwiches. Their food's disgusting.
I think it's weird that they insist that it's edible.
Yeah, right?
They're like, eat fresh. And then you go there and nothing tastes human. Or, I mean,
Yeah.
organic.
Mikey, why are you expecting to eat human meat
Because
at
it's
a Subway?
fresh. Because it's fresh, Todd. It's fresh.
Okay, we have to move on. I am terrified.
Anyway, so she resists. She's like, I don't care. Massimo kind of like tackles her onto a chair and is like groping her boob.
Right after he says he'll never touch her without her consent.
I won't touch you without your permission, grope.
And then immediately does.
Immediately does.
Yeah.
But this is where he basically lays out for her that you have 365 days. If by your birthday next year, nothing changes, I'll set you free. Which, by the way, there's no way he's setting her free. He would have definitely killed her, right?
I mean, that
100%.
definitely is the vibe he puts off. Yeah.
Yeah. She goes in for what seems like it's going to be a kiss, but pulls his own gun on him. He grabs it from her and has them escort her back to her room. Meanwhile, he walks out to like his home prison.
I mean, it is a castle with like a, big ass gate that you lower. And I don't know what it's called because I live in America. We don't have castles here.
He's pretty much, if you combined Axe body spray with Bowser.
And she's the princess. So what you're saying is you wanted an Italian plumber to show up and save her at the end of this movie.
Yes. Massimo, it's a me, a Mario. I come with my lady.
Massimo versus Mario. Let's get it.
It's a me, a baby girl.
Then you... It's me, baby girl.
It's me.
I got the list. Then you will enjoy the sequel.
Oh, my God.
Where an Italian gardener
What? I love it. I love it, Paige.
named Nacho. His name is Nacho.
Name is a food I adore.
I mean, it's definitely short for Ignacio, but
Oh, okay.
anyway. So he goes to his underground prison area where he's
I think they call those dungeons, Paige.
dungeon, but it's not the fun kind. Like
I'm just
when you
going
talk
to go to
about
my
a dungeon in
underground
this
prison
movie,
area.
underground prison area. So his holding cell or whatever, I think this is an actual older castle that he has then renovated because it looks like the guy in the prison area is on an olive oil grinding stone, like a big grinding wheel.
Okay.
And they've like chained him there. And this is where he's like, you were trafficking children, so now you have to fucking die because you stained the family. And I was like, why is this movie fixated on this one thing of like, see, Massimo's a good guy. He wouldn't let them traffic somebody. I'm like, he's kidnapped a lady.
He's actively trafficking
kidnapped a
someone
lady.
right now.
Yeah. He is currently like tip deep in actively trafficking a woman.
And you know what? It makes me feel really bad about owning these shirts in middle school, these Massimo shirts.
If I had known that my buying those products would have fueled this type of nightmare scenario, I would not have worn them.
Mm-hmm.
We went to a restaurant named Massimo's growing up. When I told my mom not to watch this movie, because I warned my mom so she wouldn't watch this movie. I was like, yeah. So I was like telling her the plot. I was like, so this guy Massimo, and she's like, his name is Massimo. And I was like, yeah, of course it is. Anyway, so he's going to murder this dude. Meanwhile, Laura, we get a cut of her sitting in the biggest shower on earth, which we will cover in fun facts. But she sees an opportunity while everyone is kind of working on the prisoner guy that she's going to try and make a break for it. But she gets just far enough to basically see Massimo murder him.
Yeah.
And then she faints and wakes up in bed the next day.
Yeah. Well, and he does oversee her seeing what's going on, right?
Yes. Which to me, if I was her, I'd be like, well, now I have to stay here because I'm a witness.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way they let me go now. So she wakes up and he's like, you shouldn't have seen it. I'm sorry, but you have to know that he was hurting children. And so he had it coming. He had it coming. He had it coming.
He only traffics underage.
Yeah, he only traffics underage. Yeah.
I'm honestly just going to cut my singing it out because yours is way better.
If you'd have seen it, I bet you would have shot his face.
Oh, how do you not say brain? It rhymes. Same and brain.
Oh.
You would have shot him in the brain. That's the line. I've written songs, Paige. I know what I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so he tells her that the maid changed her clothes.
Yes.
And she asks that he bring her cell phone and laptop. And he's like, you'll get them when it's the right time. And I'm like,
Yeah, you're not going to get your cell phone and laptop until the Stockholm Syndrome takes hold.
right.
Yeah.
And this is where he's like, be ready in 2 hours because we depart because I have stuff to do. And this is where she says, I'm not a bag of potatoes that you can just take anywhere.
Like everyone does. Go grab your bag of potatoes. We're going to town.
What is this, 7 brides for 7 brothers?
What is this, 8th grade where I have to pretend like that bag of potatoes is a baby? Did you guys have to do that?
No, I had an egg.
Yeah, we had eggs where I
Oh.
live. I mean, a bag of potatoes is probably more realistic, though.
Well, it was heavy. That was because
Yeah.
a bag of potato, 10-pound bag of potatoes weighs about as much as a 10-pound baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably the exact same.
Yeah.
You're carrying it for a week and it was exhausting. I don't know if you know, but baby weight pounds are different than potato pounds.
I know. I'm still trying to lose mine.
I've just, I've come to grips with the fact that I'll never lose my potato pounds. I just love potatoes too much.
They are delicious.
I love potatoes.
So she pushes him and he like shoves her onto the bed and is like, don't hit me again. And she's like, or what? You'll kill me? And he's like,
Yes.
He's like, absolutely, I will.
I killed a whole middle school class because I couldn't release them either.
yeah, I killed an entire school of younglings. What about it? Come at me, ho. So she gets up and has breakfast with Domenico, and basically Massimo drags her on his errands for the day, and we get our first shopping montage of the film.
Oh my God.
Shopping montage numero uno. And it's literally just her walking around buying things while Massimo looks annoyed.
Yes.
Just getting free shit because she's like, well, he loves me and I have to be here for a year, so charge it to the game. So she gets to a lingerie store and he pops into the fitting room and she's like, get out or it's the last time you'll see it. And he's like, I paid for it. I'll decide when I see it. And you're like, okay.
Well, at this point, we've crossed some new lines.
Yeah. Well, because you're like, but I thought you said she decided. But he never remembers his own rules. Massimo's kind of done that way.
Yeah, he's kind of dumb many ways.
Yeah.
Rule number 1 in Massimo's kidnapping, there are no rules.
Yeah, rule number 1 about Massimo's kidnapping, we don't talk about Massimo's kidnapping. Remember, I'm the air quotes good guy. So he leaves the fitting room. She comes out. She throws it at him and then runs out into the street to try and escape and get help from the police. But of course, he's the mob. He has paid the police off.
Yeah.
And so he just walks up like, are you lost, baby girl? And she's just like, ugh. And he's like, you should have probably packed running shoes or bought running shoes if you were going to run.
Right?
Yeah. And she then says like, so did you mean what you said? You won't touch me without my permission? And he's like, yes. And also you can have your cell phone and laptop when we get home. And she's like, and I want a nice dinner, pierogi. And I was like, I didn't think of pierogi as a formal food, but you know what? I'm not from Poland, so sure.
I mean, it might be nice to have something that reminds her of home when you're
I
kidnapped.
think that's what it was. Yeah.
I wonder if she was actually referring to condoms. Because aren't pierogies like Polish ravioli with meat instead of cheese?
I mean, it's a stretch, but okay.
I tried. I do love pierogies though. Like I get it.
It's a stretch, like sliding a ravioli down over your shaft.
Yeah. You know how you make pierogies? First, you need a 10-pound bag of potatoes.
That is true. Oh, you've got to burp it every hour. Put it to bed. Anyway, she's wearing that lingerie at the dinner. Like she's wearing a low-cut dress, and you can see that she's got the lingerie on under.
Yeah.
So I think at this point in the movie, she's trying to like play the situation.
Oh, yeah.
Where she's like, if I have to be kidnapped, I'm gonna make the most of it.
Listen, Paige, she is going to hold out as long as she can from falling in love with him. It's just unfortunate that as long as she can ends up being 55 days or whatever.
Whatever it is.
That's what I tell every officer I ride with at work. I say, I have one rule. Don't fall in love with me.
Don't fall in love with me. I'll always remember. Sorry, that was
Also,
a Walk to Remember reference.
When it comes to sexy meals to eat a lot of before you go try to hook up,
Yeah, it's not pierogi.
37 pierogies might not be on my list.
It was 365 pierogies out there.
365 pierogies.
That would be the only thing that actually does end up being 365 in this movie, though, and that was infuriating. The fact that
That
this
was how
did
much
not
she weighed after all the pierogies.
No, that this didn't take place over an actual year, and it's called 365 days.
Well, yeah, Todd, I wanted that scene at the end where he yells at her, I kidnapped you every day for a year.
Yes, Mikey. Yes.
So she's like, so what do you actually do? And he stops short of being like, what do you think? Like, what?
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm a mob boss. Like,
Yeah.
Did you not see the guards? Did you not see me shoot that guy? Like, what are you talking about? But he tells her, he's like, I own companies and hotels and clubs or whatever. And I'm like, he's the mob. He's the mob, you dumb bitch. So she goes to her room after dinner and her laptop and phone are there.
Yeah.
And she calls her mom and lies.
Yeah.
And is like, I got a job in Sicily. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's a 1-year contract or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which to me suggests that she's going to figure stuff out and try to stay. But there's a part of me that's like, why? Unless her old life was so boring. But also she can't escape because he's going to kill her.
Some people really just want to be rich, you know?
There was a show like in the early 2000s called Who Wants to Marry a Millionaire, and people like signed up for it.
Oh, Joe Millionaire.
No. Joe Millionaire is when he was not a millionaire.
He turns out to not be.
Who Wants to Marry a Millionaire was like a guy who had a history of sexual assault, but also had a lot of money.
Oh, no.
Had all these women have a contest.
Yes. And like they married him on the show without ever seeing what he looked like until they got married. It was, I mean, it is a dark time in reality TV, but that was a show. I think it was like early 2000s.
Did you watch that documentary on reality TV too?
I didn't, no.
I watched the documentary and I was like, this is fascinating.
So she wakes up the next morning and he's in bed with her.
Yeah.
And she reaches over and touches his abs, but then gets up and walks to the shower.
Well, and strips down completely naked.
As she does it.
Yeah.
Knowing that he's like awake and can see
I've
it.
lived this scene where a girl's waking up, turned to face me, put her hand gently on my belly, and then went and take a shower.
She was like, I have to wash you off of me, you disgusting man.
and when her hand was sitting there and she said, don't get in there. Don't come
to the shower.
Oh, no.
I'll be gone before you know it.
You smell like ravioli condoms.
You ate too many pierogies last night.
Yeah.
So he follows her into the shower.
Yes. Although it's a whole other shower. Like she's under one shower head and he's under another shower head.
Right. And there's also, you can see over her shoulder, a full bath setup in this shower.
Yeah, it's huge.
And the shower is all brass fixtures and black marble.
It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. I mean, if I was going to get kidnapped for a year and be forced to live in a bathroom, this is the bathroom I would choose.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
The height of bathroom luxury.
All the pierogies you can eat and this bathroom. You might end up with me for a year. Like if that is the offer.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't need to kidnap me, sir. I will come willingly.
Yeah.
He had me at like, I don't have to work for a year.
I know, right?
I could just work on my novel and occasionally throw you some dick. Let's do it. So he gets in the shower and she's looking him over and he says, do you want anything from me or are you just looking? And she reaches over and touches him and like presses up against him, but then walks away. Like she's kind of like teasing him about it. And this is where he just reaches out and grabs her by the back of the neck.
Yeah.
And pulls her back in.
I was watching this last night. Mikey was watching this last night. And we were messaging each other in our Facebook Messenger group. It's just the three of us, right? And I like all caps was like, oh my God, I just saw the choking scene. And,
yes.
And I immediately responded with, it was low-key pretty sexy though.
Yeah. And I think I replied to you that I agree.
Yeah.
But again, in a context where you would be role-playing this out with someone that you trust.
Right.
and have safe words
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I would just be like, get out of my shower.
with. I'm washing off right now. You're in the way. And I'm cold when I'm not under the stream of water.
That is the worst part about showering with somebody is that
It is.
either you're freezing or they're freezing. There's no middle ground.
Or you're directly under the water so you can't see or wash anything.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, yeah. So he basically is like, don't tease me.
yeah.
Like, and lets her go, but is like, don't fucking tease me.
Yeah.
So we cut to them dragging her onto his private plane, kicking and screaming. And we cut inside the plane and they've buckled her in with like 4 seatbelts. Like
Yeah,
she's,
it looks like she's driving a fucking like Formula One race car. Like that's the kind of seatbelt she's wearing.
when I live tweeted this, I just posted a picture of this and just said, she flew Southwest, question mark. Because it looks like she's duct taped to the chair.
Yeah.
And she calls him a racial slur
Yes, she
in this scene.
does.
And I missed that the first time I watched it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was just like,
Oh, I missed that. What'd she say?
Well, we're not going to say it, but it
We're
is
not
a
gonna repeat it.
derogatory term for Italian people. Yeah.
yeah.
What is that, like pizzas? I don't know, ravioli?
You dirty ass pizza.
Raviolis. Anyway, she calls him a slur for Italians, and then he sniffs her hair and then gropes her, like touches her like chest and fingers her.
He's like, you want stereotypical Italian? I'll give it to you.
Oh, what?
Okay, here's the thing. Me Italian, me very Italian. I have also been to Italy.
Nice.
And I've never been catcalled more in my life
Really?
than the 3 weeks I was in Italy. Holy shit.
Okay. Japan was like that for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
they
well, yeah, because you're a white
love
guy.
White
Yeah.
guys. Yeah. And I was single at the time. So Japan was sort of fun for me.
Now, granted, I was also 16.
Gross.
Yeah.
But that's like 32 in Italy.
In Italy years? Anyway, he like fingers her and it seems like she's into it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, tease, I'm going to walk away and ride on this plane. Ha ha ha.
And he immediately goes and shakes another man's hand with the hand he was just finger banging her with. When I was like, oh, that's sort of not cool,
That's
right?
an Italian handshake. What are you talking about?
It's Domenico, because you watch him do it in the back. He like shakes his hand and then pats the side of his
Yes.
face.
Yeah.
Like, oh. Anyway, they land in Rome and she is seductively eating an ice cream cone with Domenico while Massimo's talking to his cousin. And his cousin's like, so what's with the girl? Did you finally find that girl you have that weird poster of in your house? And he's just like, yeah, what's it like? And he's like, difficult.
Yeah.
Like, she sucks, kind of.
It's weird that she like didn't instantly want to fuck me when I kidnapped her and like trapped her in my house.
It's a nice house, okay?
Yeah. I need her to fall in love with me before the last rose petal falls.
I saved her from the wolves in the forest, and all she wants to do is talk to that fucking magic clock and candelabra.
I bought her a library.
Anyway, so she walks up, she's like, are you talking about me? And then she's like licking all over this. She's trying to make him upset and jealous.
Yeah.
And like hands the ice cream cone to the cousin and then walks off screen to go bathe in a fountain, which we don't see.
I do love that they do this though, because it is very much like, it would be like watching The Matrix and then as Neo jumps from like one skyscraper to the other, instead of showing that effect, it like shows people on the ground being like, oh my God, there's a man jumping. And then him landing, it just cuts to him landing on the other one.
Yes.
Like it just sets up this thing that's happening that would be interesting to see, but they don't show us.
We don't show it.
It's so funny.
We cut to them walking back to the hotel. Now, here's something crazy. They are clearly in a, well, and I guess it might be an apartment building with a lobby is what it might be.
Okay.
It looks like a hotel though.
It
and they're
does.
walking back through the hotel lobby wet. But we get upstairs. He has his room. She has hers. She goes to his room in a robe. She, of her own volition, goes to his room.
Uh-huh.
And her room just looked like a hotel room. His room is custom decorated. So I don't know if he just owns that hotel and owns that room, or
Yeah, you could.
it's a penthouse. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know. But there's a giant painting of him with a lion,
Yeah.
which is hilarious.
Yeah.
And she's just like, what the fuck? And he's like, it was a gift.
It was a gift from this painter I paid a shitload of money to.
Yeah.
It was on my registry for my housewarming. Anyway, so they're kind of having this like back and forth kind of sassy conversation, and he's just in a towel. So he takes the towel off and he just says, "Take it."
You know, Mikey, it's what men say when they take towels off around their kidnapped victims.
Yeah.
Take it.
And she's just like, "In your dreams."
Yeah.
And he's like, "So you're saying no?" And she's just like, "Yeah, I'm saying no. You've got servants for everything. Have a servant do it." It's basically what she says.
Yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, I've already planned for
Okay.
that."
Yeah. And she realizes she's locked in the room. He pushes her down onto the bed and restrains her there. So she's got like arm restraints and a shackles and a spreader bar.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You're immobilized. I can do whatever I want. But actually, I'm just going to show you what you're missing."
Yeah, it's nothing like the threat of rape to really get the love going in the room tonight.
Oh my God.
But then he does something so strange, and this is such a strange scene for me because I feel like it really misunderstands what people think is hot. I don't know, but he has the attendant, flight attendant, now dick attendant, come in.
Yeah, I'm a registered dick attendant.
I'm a registered dick attendant. I'm going to need you to put your balls in the overhead bin.
Sorry, they are too large.
We're going to have to gate check those nuts. So she comes in and she's wearing lingerie very similar to the kind that they fought over a couple scenes ago.
I honestly thought they just reused it. I was like, oh, she's
It is
wearing the
different.
exact same lingerie. But okay, it is different.
It's slightly different. But what is really crazy is that in the second movie, she like recreates this scene for like a birthday present, Christmas present. I think it was a Christmas present. Anyway, he proceeds to basically, the girl performs oral sex on him.
Yeah, he is showing Laura what she's missing by just sitting there and doing nothing while a woman services him.
Thank you. As I suggested in our group chat, maybe the thing she was missing was TMJ.
I did really enjoy that joke, by the way.
Anyway, so, and he's like looking at her while he is being serviced. He's eye contact with Laura.
Like staring her down.
And I think that I can see a scenario where if you are into watching your significant other with somebody else specifically, that this would be very arousing.
Sure.
But without introducing that as like a theme or anything, the scene is just very like, what? What would she be missing here other than like rug burns on her knees? Like, what are we talking about? Like, what?
But Laura does look like she's into it.
Yeah, like she's kind of like, oh, I wish it was me. Why couldn't it be me?
I wish it was me receiving zero pleasure and only being,
Right?
like, what are we doing?
I wish
right
it was
now?
me doing all the work. Yeah.
I've done the same thing like this, but on Omegle. Where
On a what?
Omegle, the chat
roulette.
roulette.
Play out that scenario for me. I have like 1,000 questions. I don't even know what we're talking about right now. So you're on Omegle and you get someone on the other side, on the screen, and then you go blow somebody?
No. It happened much differently. It was like, there's this cool website where you like randomly chat with people. This is before it was like a sex thing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
hit next, and then like someone was just having their penis, and I was like, I hate this website, and I closed it. And I feel like that's what she was experiencing, Laura.
Yeah. The best thing to come out of that website was the improv piano guy.
Yes. So he finishes and then like climbs up onto Laura, and it looks like he's going to maybe assault Laura, but instead he unrestrains her. He unclips her.
Well, yeah, he just finished. There's like a refractory period where she is safe.
You said refractory like Mikey.
Yeah, I know. I like the way he says it. It's funny.
And he tells her, we have to be in one of my clubs in 2 hours, so get dressed.
Yeah.
And she puts on this like sequin glitter shirt and a long ponytail like the girl that we kind of just saw. But also that means she was traveling with wigs. What? Laura, turning it up.
Or they bought some in one of the 90s shopping montages we see. Yeah.
Accurate.
She's like, if I can shop, maybe I don't have to go back to my kidnapping location, like torture chamber. I don't know what I call it. Home.
Giant shower.
Yeah.
So we cut through kind of what's going on at the club. He's having like a meeting with a bunch of his mafia buddies who are all doing rails of cocaine.
Yeah.
There's just like passing it around on a tray. And she's like on the dance floor and ends up dancing on the pole in their like VIP section.
Yeah.
And another mafia guy who was likely overserved cocaine gets a little handsy with her, and Massimo pulls his guns.
Yeah.
Because he's Massimo.
Yeah.
We cut to the boat the next day where she wakes up on his yacht. We have no explanation of how they got to the yacht. Why are they on the yacht? Where are they going? What's happening? Nobody knows. But what we do find out, because she overhears the conversation with Martine, his like consigliere.
Yeah.
And he's like, and Martine is like, go back to Anna, repair the two families. What we will find out in the second movie, not so much this movie, is that Anna is linked to one of the other mafia families. She's like a daughter or something like that.
Right.
And so it was like an alliance. So when he broke up with her for Laura, it was like kind of a big deal. Anyway, so we also find out that Massimo shot through the hands of the guy that touched Laura.
Yeah, it's some real stigmata type shit.
Yeah.
We don't know what he shot through his hands.
I mean, that's true. We don't know.
That brings a whole new different meaning to the like hand job term.
Arrow, spike, spear. But what really drove me nuts about this is that he's like, yeah, I shot his hands. I don't know what you expected me to do. Dress like a fucking floozy. And it's like, he immediately pivots to like, but what was she wearing though?
He immediately blames her for him shooting someone through the hands.
It's so crazy.
Of course I had to desperado him. You wore a skimpy dress.
Yeah. You made me do it.
I saw you dancing on that pole. I had to kill 13 people in that club and a whole middle school class. I'm a good guy.
Oh, jeez. So they get in a fight on the boat. She goes overboard.
I mean, she goes overboard, Paige, and they are like tussling. They are like sort of fighting. I mean, he does sort of shove her overboard. Like, I think it's safe to say she would not have gone overboard if he was not being physical with her.
Yeah, they're like tussling near the railing.
Yes.
And he kind of like shoves and she tumbles over and he's like, oh no, the police are definitely going to look for her. And so he like dives in and saves her. Like he pulls her out of the ocean and carries her up to the bedroom. We cut to her waking up later and he's sitting there and he's like, thank God you're alive. But also you drive me crazy. I want to kill you. Like, holy shit, you're making my life so miserable.
And he very much blames her for him shoving her into the ocean.
Just like he blamed her for shooting that guy's hands.
Massimo is the fucking worst.
Yes, he needs to mossy go.
Anyway, she apologizes because apparently him pulling her out of the ocean for her is like the key that unlocks the Stockholm Syndrome.
No, Paige, she is on a boat. He has already demonstrated his willingness to murder her. This is just him playing out the Dennis system.
The Dennis system.
Because he is about to separate entirely when he sends her to Warsaw without him.
That's true.
Dennis Reynolds loves this movie.
This is probably his favorite. So she gets up and proceeds to like unbuckle his pants. So she's going to go down on him. And he's like, don't tease me. Like, are we doing this or are we doing this? And then they are doing this on like every surface of this boat. And we do have to talk about the spit.
Yeah. Let's talk about it then, Paige.
Because I feel like we have to put Massimo on the spit list because he put in the work.
No, we don't.
Paige,
we need to have an intervention because I knew this was going to happen on this episode. I tried to address it at the beginning where at the same point in the movie, she fucks Massimo. You have now turned your attention and being like, I've come back around on Massimo.
No, okay, here's what I'm going to say. The actor is very attractive, although questionable interviews, and we will talk about it in fun facts. But also, I mean, try spitting on a significant other if they're down. Just saying.
I mean, this is a dicey subject.
We'll also talk about this scene in Fun Facts because there was some controversy about this scene in Fun Facts.
Okay. I mean, there was a reason he was doing that, though, right? It wasn't just like for fun.
No, but
I
it is
guess
also
it's all
fun.
for fun. But yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Anyway, but at this point, because they're literally fucking on every surface of this boat, and my mind is just, where did the other guy and the servants go? Like, they couldn't be off the boat. They're here somewhere.
His servant or servants and consigliere are still on the boat, just like trying to avoid. They're like locked in their cabins like, God, I can't leave because they fuck everywhere on this boat.
Yes. when I watched this the first time, this is when Jake came home. So I had like watched up to this point, and then Jake came home and he just like was like, what the fuck are you watching? And then I like paused it to explain and then like restarted it. And he just went, that poor boat. And I was like, the boat? You feel bad for the boat? All right.
I mean, I'm sure the boat scene worse.
Yeah.
It's a rental.
It's a rental. We cut to later that day. They're swimming and he's like, let's go to a ball tonight. And she's like, I have nothing to wear. Cue shopping / makeover montage number 2.
Oh my God. It's so crazy.
It's nuts. They go to the ball and Massimo asks her to dance. And they do a crazy tango in the middle of a group of people who are just regular dancing.
Yeah.
As if it's normal.
But okay, can I point this out really quick? We go from shopping montage to them walking in, saying legit 3 lines of dialogue to each other, immediately into a dancing montage.
Right.
It's insane.
And then as they're dancing, they run into who? Gasp! Anna, who proclaims herself the first and real love of Massimo, and then basically says, should I kill her?
I thought she was referring to Lara as his first and only love because of his obvious years-long infatuation with her.
So he dated Anna for a long time, and she thinks that she should still be his numero uno.
But I mean, he does say in the scene, I was always honest with her about what was going on.
Yeah, he did break up with her.
And it was always you. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He also says in this scene, I've had your portrait up for years, which is impossible. There would be no way for him to have gotten a picture of someone he could not find.
Right.
I mean, not that I'm like pointing out the one plot hole that drove me crazy because his dad gets killed by a fucking meteorite. But like, this is another glaring plot hole. Also, this movie takes place over 60 days and not 365. I hated this movie. I can't even talk about it. I have like Star Wars new trilogy levels of hate for this movie.
I'm not as emotionally invested, but I don't like this movie.
So Anna stomps off after saying she's going to kill Laura.
Yeah.
And Laura's like, I kind of want to leave. Like, we're leaving now.
But Massimo does tell Laura what Anna said.
What happened, yeah.
And then Laura's like, yeah, I want to go because my life was just threatened.
Yeah. So we cut back to a much smaller bathroom back at the hotel or wherever they are.
It's honestly, Paige, it's not necessarily about the size. It's about like what you can do with it.
Yeah, because the sinks are the perfect height. So because she's in a towel, she's just gotten showered. He's still dressed. And they just like bone zone all over the sinks and against the mirror and everything. And he literally, as she's like coming, he's like, I'm sending you to Poland to see your family. I got you an apartment. I'll join you there soon.
Yeah.
Ostensibly for her safety. So we cut to her being driven with Domenico to the airport.
Which I think the sex scenes peaked on the boat, and then this one was kind of a boring one.
This one was a boring one, but I like the next one. The next one's pretty cool.
Well, we'll talk about him as we go through it.
Anyway, so she goes to Poland alone. She shows up on her friend's doorstep, and her friend's like, where the fuck have you been? What happened?
And they like have a heart-to-heart conversation. I actually sort of like this scene because it was her like talking with her friend about what's actually been going on, and she actually is sort of telling the truth here. It's heartbreaking that she's like, oh, but I actually fell in love with him. You know, but like,
oh, it's so terribly
at least her friend is like, what?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Like, but I do, one of my favorite lines in the scene is the whole, she's like, a body carved by God. And she's like, what about that dick? Is that made by God too? And she was like, the devil.
Which leads me to believe that it's horned. Like, why would it be the devil?
It's ribbed for her pleasure.
It's ribbed for her pleasure.
The whole purpose of this movie is that like nothing else matters but looks.
Yeah.
The movie.
The movie.
Looks or sexual chemistry.
Oh, yeah,
or both.
chemistry.
Yeah. But in this scene, this is also where she's like, I fell in love with him, but they don't take foreigners as wives. And her best friend is like, okay, we're going out. Like, we're not going to stay inside.
She's like, spa day, montage.
She was like, I don't have time for this, but we are definitely going to have to cosplay as 2 of the 4 Sex and the City girls for the next 48 hours.
Yep. And that's where we get our third makeover / shopping montage.
And they do a lot of spa services. This would be thousands of dollars.
This would be expensive, but I am fucking here for it.
I mean, it would be a nice day. Like,
yeah. Anyway, now she is a blonde and they're at the club. So we get like a club montage. My favorite is the guy that tries to hit on them and is
Yes.
like, did it hurt? And they were like, when we fell from heaven, bye.
Yeah,
Like, no.
I love how he just like, okay, I'm gonna go.
Oh, okay.
And like, you just know his friends like 5 minutes before that were like, man, just go talk to her. The worst thing she could say is, no, I'm not interested. And then he
And that's
comes back and
exactly
they're
what
like,
she
what
said.
happened? And then he's like, it went badly. And I hate you guys for making me
It
do
was
that.
bad.
Yeah.
It was a bad time. So her friend meets a guy and goes off on her own. And then she runs into her shitty ex-boyfriend.
Yes.
And confronts him about
She's like, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be kidnapped.
yeah.
Or Paige, Professor Moriarty.
Anyway, she's like, you cheated on me. He's like, no, I swear, I don't remember. I was drunk. I'm so sorry.
I mean, he still went on the hike without her. Like, fuck this guy
Yeah.
all day. Like, I hate this dude.
yeah.
They technically have not broken up yet, right?
No, he left a letter.
Yeah. Oh.
Massimo left a letter. Massimo broke up with him for her.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Oh, right. But I mean, she was like over it. Like, she was going to break up with him. I'm not saying she deserved to get kidnapped or anything, but like, I do feel like their relationship had run its course.
Right. So she goes to leave. She's like, I'm going home. And he follows her home and is trying to push his way into her apartment.
Yes.
So he is a shitty dude.
Yes.
There's not a good guy in this series except for Domenico. And that's why he gets his in the second movie.
Good for you, Domenico. I hope you wash your hand and face.
It's actually his apartment.
So he tries to push himself into the apartment. And as he is, we hear Massimo just say, leave her alone. I don't know what you're saying, but she clearly doesn't want you here.
Right.
So bye. And so she switches gears immediately and is like, oh, Martin, do you want to meet Massimo? Because
Yeah.
I feel like she's like, perfect. I know someone who's going to get mad and shoot you for no reason. Meet Massimo. So her boyfriend leaves. She closes the door. He does the, you look stunning, baby girl. And she slaps him of like, why'd you leave me in Poland alone for like 3 days or whatever it was?
Yeah. Why did you leave me in Poland to hang out with my best friend and have a huge spa day? You
How
bastard.
dare you? You bastard. So he pushes her up against the window because she lives in like a high rise.
Yeah.
And they have sex against the window with a cool crane shot outside. Or
I think it was a
it's-
drone. It has to have been a drone,
Yeah.
Paige. But yeah, it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah. Hilarious drone shot. And then they're having sex inside the apartment, not in the windows.
Right.
And she says, I don't need 365 days. I love you. Which, by the way, it's like day max 75.
No, it's not, Paige. It's day 50. Like,
It has to be, she says 2 months to her friend. So it has to be more than 60 days.
but she just got back to her friend. So it has to be like day 61 then.
Or, well, she's been gone for more than 2 months, but they mentioned 2 months. So it's at least 60.
It's infuriating.
We don't know how long she's with her friend, but like, yeah, it's 65, 75 max. Anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
not 365 days.
Right. The next morning she wakes up and he's already put the ring on her in her sleep.
Shit, I thought that was so funny because he asks her and then she's like, yes, or whatever. And then she looks at her finger and it's already there. And I was like, I would definitely wake up if someone was forcing a ring they hadn't properly sized on my finger.
Oh, you know that he, while she was sleeping another time, got her ring size.
Oh, I'm
Like,
sure that's true. Yeah.
This leads us into our fourth shopping
Oh
montage.
my God. This is the one where Massimo looks like extra like over it, like pissed.
Super over it and is mad that she's trying on skimpy dresses because he's like, not my wife. But whatever.
Yeah, which I thought was a weird angle. Like, you fell in love with this woman because she was wearing, maybe not because of, but and during this time she has been wearing skimpy stuff. Like, why try and change her now because she is becoming your wife?
Yeah, it's strange.
Right.
But so they show up. She buys this crazy glitter club dress that is very much like a club dress and then wears it to someone else's wedding where
It's
she stands out
bonkers.
so it's crazy.
You're like, oh, who brought that escort to this wedding?
Well, like who brought someone from the Grammys to this wedding is what it looks like. And like this is something that Rita Ora would wear at a low tier awards show. Like it's wild. And then her parents are there dressed normal for a wedding. And she, like, as they're walking up, is like, don't tell them what you do for a living. And he's like, oh, fine. I guess they don't get to know. Like, he's super bitchy about it.
Yeah, and then he immediately tells them what he does for a living.
Basically, yeah.
I'm a gangster. Oh, cool. Do you like vodka? Like,
Yeah.
the dialogue is so, it doesn't even matter. Like, it doesn't even matter what they're saying.
It doesn't. My favorite is we do see the bouquet toss from this wedding, and they do it as like with the bride in the back of a car.
And she falls.
And she falls, and we don't see if she falls out of the car, but it looks like she may have.
No, I think she just fell into the back seat of the car.
Yeah, just something. But Laura catches the bouquet, but no one else seemed to be trying.
Yeah, no one else was around her. She was like, she had Massimo on one side, parents on the other, and then it was just her. And they were like, oh my God, you caught the bouquet that was thrown directly to you and no one else was around.
Right.
Your husband paid me $18,000
to give you this bouquet.
I think you mean your future husband, Mikey.
Fiancé.
Yeah.
Fiancé.
/ man who kidnapped you.
Kidnapper.
Let's not forget where we actually are, guys.
So we cut to, they're back at the compound, and she's like, hey, I know you said that my family and friends can't come to the wedding, but please let me bring my best friend. I told her about you. It's fine. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go do errands today. Do you want to go? And she's like, I'm not feeling great, which is our first clue that she is pregnant.
Right.
So she goes into town to pick up her friend and immediately tells her best friend, like, yo, definitely pregante, and then also engaged. And her friend is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
You may be in a golden cage, but it's still a cage.
Right. Like, what is happening? And she's like, but I love him. And I said yes willingly. And it's like, oh.
Well, I mean, Stockholm Syndrome's a thing. So.
Yeah. And her friend is like, well, whatever happens, I will raise this child with you if that's what it comes to. And then we get into our 5th shopping montage for wedding dresses.
She's like, I would love a wildly inappropriate wedding dress.
A panina tournée, if you will.
I love paninis, man. I don't care who makes them, tournée, whoever. But paninis are great. Little toasty sandwich, hell yeah.
Yummies. So this scene does something really important, and it sows the seeds of an Olga Domenico power couple for part 2.
It does, yes. Because it's them flirting on the sofa together, and I was like, oh, I bet they get together in the second movie.
They do, and I root for them the whole damn time.
Nice.
So she finds her dress, and she's like, I want to be with him and keep the baby. And they're like, yay, let's drive back through the tunnel. And as that's happening, Martin calls Massimo, and he's like, they're going to kill Laura. And Laura and her friend are just in the tunnel like, ha, 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 ha. And then we cut to Massimo sinking to his knees like, no, Padme, no. And then
I want to point out that his consigliere is trying to call him and he gets a busy signal, which is the first time I've seen anyone ever get a busy signal when calling from cell phone to cell phone.
In modern day, too.
Yes.
But then we cut to the tunnel where we see police cars in and around the tunnel.
Yeah.
And
that's the
movie.
So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what do you guys think about 365, which is really more like 75 days?
Yeah.
I don't want to use the term Euro trash lightly.
I want it to feel pointed and aggravated.
But I will say that this movie is that.
Okay. Interesting take.
Interesting take. It's bad.
Yeah,
it's bad.
It is.
Oh, here
but
it
I'm
comes.
also...
Here it comes again.
Oh, there was a big but. You heard it, Mikey. But also...
But also, I'm very entertained by it because it's bad. Like, in its badness, I find it hilarious.
Yes, Paige, this is the antithesis of From Justin to Kelly. Because this is also bad, but it's very watchable bad. And not just because the porn, like legit porn scenes that we see. Like, even the dialogue and stuff is crazy.
And you could tell they tried to make it good.
Oh, I do feel like the people that worked on this movie were like, yes, we're making a good movie. And they simply were not.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. 50 Shades is not a good movie either.
No, like, this falls into that same category. Absolutely.
This is that same category. Absolutely. Yeah.
But would I watch this again? Probably not. Will I watch the second one? Absolutely.
Here's the thing. You got to watch this one to set up the second one. And I will say the sex scenes in this one are maybe a little bit better because there's more of them. The second one goes into the story more, and it's fucking nuts.
That honestly makes me want to watch it even more. I'm going to do my best to not watch it until you make us watch it for this, because I want like a first-time experience.
I want to come in fresh.
Yeah. Or as Mikey says, eat flesh.
Eat flesh.
So, Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
I do.
Well, hit us with your fun facts. It's porn. Fun facts.
Fun facts. I'm going to start out with what I know everyone is wondering.
Yes.
How much does that shower cost?
Welcome back to How Much Does That Shower Cost? The only podcast that breaks down every movie shower and tells you how much it would cost. Paige,
Now,
to you.
thank you. I estimate that shower is about 100 square feet. And so these numbers are based on those measurements. Now, I'm going to list out cost of supplies and then cost of installation. So for the tile, because it is black marble tile, your best case scenario is about $5,400 for that amount of tile. The fixtures are a cool $1,200 for the bath and the 2 shower fixtures. The bathtub itself, which is a black marble bathtub, is $11,000.
Oh my God.
Now, the installation for an average bathroom remodel is about $25,000 on the high end, which this would definitely be high end working with materials like that.
Absolutely.
Which means we got to at least double it because this is twice or more the size of a normal bathroom and it's entirely covered in tile. So this shower costs between $60,000 to $70,000 alone. On its own.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Easily. Let's talk about the screenwriter first before we dig into the actor.
All right.
So the screenwriter of this movie, Blanca Lipinska, who she wrote the novel and then adapted it. And then there's a couple other writers that come in to kind of help with the adaptation. She is a interesting person, and it seems like she specifically wanted the actor who played Massimo, like she had some input in choosing him. She also wanted the part of the attendant.
Really?
The flight attendant.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did she get it? Was she the flight attendant?
She was not. But one of the things that she had said in interviews, but also in the process of trying to get that role, is that she felt like she was one of the only people who could accurately portray the emotion in the scene. She did not get that part. Now, she also had some say over the editing of this film, because originally in early cuts of the film, the spit scene on the boat was cut out because they thought it would not play well in other parts of the world, specifically America. They didn't think Americans would be cool.
Really?
And she argued that it was a very popular gesture in Poland for couples. And I was like, what's your subset size for this data? But so she basically put her foot down and argued for them to put it back in, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The sex scenes of this movie, while hilarious at times, are actually pretty unique. They did something that they don't typically do with sex scenes, where they actually pulled all the cameras back and then just had the actors run the scene a few times. And certain cameras were responsible for close-ups, others for wide shots.
Yeah.
The actors don't know what's what. They're just doing the scene, which I think lends itself to looking more real, because it does look very real, but it's also why
Yeah, that's the same relationship I have with my Ring cameras.
Right. But it's also why you occasionally see the privacy patches, because you can't, when you're shooting from that far away and you're kind of limited to the few takes that you have, you can't really account for that. So let's talk about Massimo.
Let's, please.
Yeah, let's talk about him.
He is an actor, had been an actor in Italy for a long time. And actually, I do have a brief quote where he has said that he wanted to become an actor after watching a Harry Potter film at age 11. Because, spoiler, Massimo is younger than all of us, as I told Todd earlier.
Yeah.
Massimo's a little bit younger than my younger sister. So he was inspired to become an actor by Harry Potter. And he also... he started acting in middle school in like an after school program, but then was forced to repeat his first year of high school because he was held back for bad behavior.
Okay, cool.
Shocking no one.
I know.
Anyway, before he got the script for this movie, he had kind of a rough patch in his career. He hadn't had parts recently. He was largely like a television guy, kind of like a soap opera kind of thing.
Yeah.
He was newly divorced. He had no money, was super depressed, and decided to take a job working at he decided to take a job working as a gardener in a village in Italy.
Okay.
For 5 months. He was just like, I'm just going to be a gardener. Like, my career is over. This is what I'm going to do. They reached out to him directly to offer the role.
Wow.
Which
okay.
I think that's part of my theory as to, like, I think she kind of handpicked, which if you go through like Twilight, 50 Shades, all of the authors have had someone that they wanted to pick for their role. They rarely get that person. In this case, I think she got that person.
Good for her.
So he gets the script and quits his job immediately. It's
Absolutely.
just like, fuck being a gardener.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. And now part of the reason that he has most of the fun facts for this movie is because he gives crazy interviews. Like, and by crazy, I mean like anyone who's like, hey, we need to interview for this movie. He's like, perfect. I'll tell you everything. And you're like, you can hold stuff back. But people have compared this film to 50 Shades. And he specifically is just like, 50 Shades is too clean and it's not passionate enough. This movie's better. Basically like, fuck your 50 Shades, which I think is very, very funny. Now, because he gives interviews with too much information, we have some insight into what the attendance scene was actually like and how they did it.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned, all the sex in this film is simulated. It is not real.
Right.
No matter what anyone online tells you, it is not real. In this scene in particular, they put a strap-on him with a prosthetic, which is very common in scenes like this.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but he basically, the actress had to perform on the prosthetic.
Yeah.
So he basically watched someone perform and he was like, it was really weird and people kept giggling and it was breaking I like, just be serious. I'm trying to do like, we got to get through it.
Yeah, no pun intended, but that would be super hard for me to sit through.
Yeah. And he basically said, and he said that like he met her, they only get to talk for like a minute and then they had to like do the scene.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay.
And he said it was like really awkward and funny and it was the hardest scene to shoot. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that explains why it's a super weird scene.
Yeah. All of that checks out. Everything you said makes absolute sense to me.
Yeah.
Massimo.
Yeah, Massimo. He also believes that the character of Massimo is a sex addict and thought that one of the things that he needed to work on the most was the eyes, that his eyes should, quote, have fire like a devil. And he said it was difficult because he's not a sex addict. So he had to like build a character about that. And he's like someone who's always thinking about sex. And I was like, interesting interpretation. Okay.
I do love how this guy, even in real life, sounds like he is just reciting dialogue from this movie. Like that to me is very funny. Yeah.
He's like, I'm not like Massimo at all. And I was like, really? Because
I just needed more fire in my eyes. Oh, okay.
more fire.
All right.
Fire like
Yeah,
a devil.
cool. Yeah. Okay.
So he has multiple times said like he doesn't have any problem with the highly explicit sex scenes because in Italy, sex scenes on film are more explicit than we are used to in America.
Yes.
So whenever people in America are like, how'd you deal with the crazy sex in this? And he's like, this is normal sex scenes for movies. So he also has come out publicly, and so has she, that they're like, we did not, it is simulated. We did not have sex. We're good actors. We know how to fake it.
Right.
But it is not real. So despite bad reviews.
Wait, what?
I
Can't
know.
believe it.
This movie?
I know. This actually became a mega hit for Netflix.
Yeah.
And it actually did have a theatrical run in Poland. Not
We'll
many
talk
people
about it.
know that. Yeah.
Oh, I've got it.
And Netflix bought it and it has not left the top 10 on Netflix in multiple countries since.
Yeah, because it's like, it's porn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, not everyone appreciates this movie. There's an anti-rape organization called Pro Empower that has written an open letter to try and get this pulled from Netflix.
And honestly, everything they say without reading the letter, I bet I would agree with.
I bet it's true.
Yeah.
I bet I would agree with it as well.
Yeah.
And finally, when asked what her favorite part of the screen adaptation of her novel was, Blanka Lipinska just said, the sex is great. She's also the second writer in Razzie history to win the worst screenplay award for adapting her own work.
That's amazing.
And not only did this get bad reception from that one particular group, but critics in Poland and throughout Europe criticized this movie for its super anti-feminist messages.
What? This is anti-feminist?
Many called it misogynistic.
Many,
and
yeah.
In general, critical reception has been negative.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Oh, so Blanca does end up in the movie. She plays the bride that throws the bouquet.
Oh, okay, cool.
But she wanted to be the attendant anyway.
Yeah.
And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. I have an additional fun fact. I wasn't sure if you were going to have this, so I saved it.
Oh, do you want to talk the soundtrack?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
The actor who plays Massimo actually sings 4 songs on the soundtrack.
And
a lot of them during the shopping montages.
Yes.
One of them is called Dark Room. One of them is the closing credits is also him.
Yes.
And that's Another Day. He released an album simultaneously with this movie coming out as a way to promote the movie. Yeah.
Yep.
He went on record saying, when I started recording the album, I had no idea how to sing. And that does come across in some of the songs because I listened to every one of the tracks. They're all on Spotify.
It's wild. Because I listened to it as well. I dug through to try and find, there is a music video for one of them that has, millions of downloads.
Sure.
And it includes scenes from the movie.
That's why.
But do you want to watch it together?
I don't really want to watch porn with you. I would feel weird about
No.
that.
I don't. I have not seen it, so I don't know which scenes it is.
I feel like that's a roll of the dice.
It's on YouTube. YouTube means that it can't include
That nudity, that's right.
explicit sex.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, so he sang most of it.
Yeah, he did. But let's do box office. So,
Yes.
I don't have a budget for this movie. So I don't know that information, and I don't know what Netflix paid for it. But it did get an international release. And I say that, but I believe this is a Polish production. So
Yes, it is.
for them, it would be a domestic release, and it made almost $9 million in Poland. It made $8.9 million. It was also released for a very short time in the United Kingdom, and it made another almost $500,000. So total, it made $9.5 or almost $9.5 million at the box office. And then Netflix paid probably a shitload of money for it. So I don't know, but I'm sure it made money. I just can't tell you how much it made.
Yeah.
But that is your box office. So Mikey, do you want to hit him with that romance scale?
I guess it's a scale that we made up a couple weeks ago where we decide how romantic a film is on a scale of 1 to 10. I'll go to Todd first.
Oh, okay. I'm going to give it a 1 because it's not romantic. He kidnaps her and she is his prisoner the whole movie.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I am also in the same boat.
Yeah. But I will say, take out the kidnapping. It's pretty sexy. I don't know if it's romantic, but there's some pretty sexy moments in this movie.
Yeah, let me say this. Take out the kidnapping and abuse.
Yeah.
And Massimo can get it. But that's without the kidnapping and abuse, which is the bulk of this movie.
Right. I mean, that's all of this. The whole movie is a abuse movie. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So this week, Paige made us watch 365/really 75 days, the movie.
Right.
What are you, Mikey, making us watch next week?
I used the phrase Euro trash, so I thought I would pivot to white trash.
Okay.
We're going to do Home Fries with Drew Barrymore and Luke Wilson.
It is Luke Wilson, yeah.
It's in a small town. He, in some ways, involved with the death of her boyfriend, and then they get together.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Interesting. All right.
I've never seen this, but awesome.
Yeah, me neither. All right.
So your homework for next week is to get moonshine drunk and watch Home Fries with Drew Barrymore and Luke Wilson.
And she's also pregnant in the movie.
Of course
She's
she
also
is.
pregnant, but she's also wearing, if memory serves, a wig-ass wig. So, the moonshine will help with that, I think.
So, guys, if you like this power throuple that we have here on this podcast, make sure to check out our other podcast, The Horror Virgin, and that is the only other podcast that Mikey and I are on, but Paige gets around, and she is on 2 other podcasts, Black Card Rehab and Cult Podcast. So guys, definitely check out those because they're amazing. If you want to follow us on social, we are at Romancing the Pod Show.
Yes.
On Instagram, and we are at something else on Twitter who I just have never taken the time to learn
It's just Romancing Pod Show because they have a character limit and it's show, SHO, like Showtime.
So guys, check that out as well. And if you want to follow us all individually, Paige is at Rampage Wesley everywhere, including TikTok. except for Twitter, where she is at Paige Wesley. Mikey is at mrandolph24, and I am at Todd J Awesome everywhere. And guys, we got a P.O. box. So if you want to send us some love letters or whatever you might send to a P.O. box, it's actually not a P.O. box. It's like a regular street address. It's pretty awesome. It's 6688 Nolensville Road, number 108-34, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027. So send us some stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us.
To completion.
Are you lost, baby girl?
What's your pickup line, Mikey?
Your boyfriend paid me to kidnap you for a year.
I know Professor Moriarty was behind it. Bye. Fantasizing about being kidnapped by a rich man nerds.
La, 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 la.